Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Theory of Nothing. It's a YouTube channel I created. This is my first upload video on this channel, and it is going to be based around the Mandela Effect community for all of us that are affected, enlightened, awoken, aware, conscious. Spit aside by the system or whatever's going on. A few years back is when I discovered the Mandela Effect and how relevant it was to me in my life. After a few months of researching into the Mandela Effect and watching all the videos of people that have just discovered it and were going through all their own trials and tribulations of trying to figure things out and the problems it was causing in their life and their awareness of family members that were not their family members and loved ones that are gone or loved ones that are missing or loved ones that are there that just aren't the loved ones, as if they have like dissociated interests now from each other. So, what is the Mandela Effect? By definition term, it's a collective misremembering of quote-unquote factual information, historical factual information. Okay. So lump all of us who remember all the different things that we remember into the category of, yep, we're all just having a collective mismemory of it. Well, that's fine for maybe some historical events, but how does that summarize our current experiences? Seeing signs change, colors change in a sign, and there's plenty of the videos out there of people recording it. I've not recorded any of those myself, but I've physically experienced it. How does the Mandela Effect, by definition, explain planes stopping in midair? I drive to and from the airport, we're past it every single day, going to work and going back home again. And almost every day I experience planes stopping in midair. Today I don't see any out there, but I don't see any taking off or landing right at the moment. And I've noticed that when I do notice planes stopping in midair, especially in the mornings or at certain times of the day, it's like all of a sudden there's a moratorium on flights and there's no planes coming in and there's no planes going out. Now, once night falls, it's like the sky is riddled with planes, constantly taking off and landing, taking off and landing, taking off and landing, as if they're waiting for the cover of nightfall to not be able to be seen when they're doing this mid-air halt. And I've talked to people in the past about it who try to argue with me that, they've flown small Cessna planes and it's just got to do with wind speed. As a plane's coming in, that the wind speed going through the atmosphere is enough where the plane is still traveling at, let's say, 100 knots, but it's not actually moving because the wind speed is 100 knots. So it's zeroing itself out. Which would explain that maybe, but you would have to literally have a tiny jet stream only affecting one plane when another plane taking off from another runway has got zero problems whatsoever taking off and moving along its merry way. So that's part of my almost daily experience with things. Now I'm out here in Arizona. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, but I live out here in the Phoenix area in Arizona now, and I've been out here for over 20 years. And it's kind of hard to quantify some of the changes from like landscape changes, only because the growth of this state has been exponential since I've been out here. So a lot of new construction, and it's a very, very new town, as it were, even though it's the old Wild West. When you get down to some areas, the area of Phoenix area itself is very young as far as all the growth has gone on. I mean, out where I live, it used to be all corn and cotton fields, and now it's all residential and some commercial. So, yeah, what's caused, just to use the coined phrase Mandela Effect for us that are affected or aware, what caused it? Was it a global causality, created by CERN, exploding the hadron particles together and split the fabric of time apart and either catapulted us into a different universe or merged multiple universes or just flat out altered our history by again ripping a hole in what we understand as a quantum fabric space-time continuum. I don't know. I'm not a quantum physicist, and I'm not at CERN to have actually experienced it, witnessed it, or talking to their scientists. I've seen a couple of the things, photos of the scientists with the signs of the Mandela Effect and all that stuff, or Mandela and whatever relevant to CERN and stuff like that. Like they know that they were the ones that caused it, and perhaps they did. Others believe that this is end times, biblical referenced, that this is God showing the few that know Him and accept Him into their life that we're in end times. That the veil of falsity created by Satan that has been shrouding the earth has been lifted from our eyes as being the chosen few. And that maybe there's truth to that. Though to have that as the truth, every one of us would have to have a belief in God, and I do not. My wife does, and I don't. So we have the dichotomy of our two beliefs in a hierarchy of consciousness, awareness, universal enlightenment, God, aliens, whatever it may be. So we have two different dichotomies of beliefs, yet we're both affected. My wife is affected as well, or enlightened, or whatever we want to call it. I hate the term Mandela Effect because it's getting such a flat earth type of coin on it, and we'll get into that flat earth community on later videos too. Some say that the whole relevant to this, that we faked the moon landing because we didn't have the tech to go there. Well, maybe we did have the tech to go there. Maybe we've been inhabited by aliens forever, and that we know that, and that was just a hoax to give false idealism to that. Oh yes, we went to the moon, we landed on the moon, and there's nothing there, so now there's no need to even go back. Oh, and by the way, we destroyed all the technology, and we destroyed all the data to back it up, so we can't even get there now. Even though now there's radiation, though our planet is creating radiation that's protecting us. But outside of that envelope, there's radiation to where we can't go there because technology is too expensive and too difficult to recreate. And the telemetry data, we just couldn't figure it out. Because apparently now, in 2018, our scientists are thousands of times dumber than they were back in the 60s. Even though the rockets have gotten better, even though we have a space station up in the floating around in space there, that scientists are constantly on and doing their own things and videoing it and all that stuff. The fact that we still can't photograph the Earth is the whole thing with that, backing up the NASA and the fakery there and all that stuff. But that could be a possibility, that maybe we're just on an alien spaceship. Maybe the dome over our heads is real. Maybe we can't go to space, and maybe we're traveling through outer space, or we're just floating in outer space, or whatever, in a spaceship, and that our Earth as we know it is gone, or maybe our Earth never existed. I mean, even going back through our history, the history is based on what we dig up in the soil, discovering bones, and then our carbon dating, which has been proven that is inaccurate and not consistent with its results, and still your judging it by some scientist that said, oh yeah, that we can hypothesize, and it's always hypothesis, that you can carbon date things back to a certain time frame. And again, that's been proven as inaccurate and by other scientists. Some that have some videos out there, and others that have had their white papers kind of pushed into the low end of the spectrum so that no one pays attention to them. So if this ain't an alien ship, and it's not CERN, and this ain't God, heaven and hell and earthbound purgatory based thing, are we just amoebas in a petri dish of a different entity, a different being, consciousness, energy? I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe we are nothing more than a computer program, simulation theory. Maybe we are corporeal, though our spirit is not of this realm. So there's some theories of that the mundane sheep, the sheeple that are just going through their mundane lives and are getting wrapped up into all this other crap that the government is doing, and heads of deep state and all this other stuff that they're talking about now. They're blaming it on what they're calling the cabal or the Illuminati, which are into devil worship and child kidnapping and sex crimes and all that crazy business. That we who are awakened and are aware are actually a corporeal entity from another either dimension or from an alien planet, and we've chosen to come here and experience life on this planet, in this timeline. Maybe that's what it is. Why would we have memories from when we were children? Well, the theory is that we went back in time, and we weren't to be made aware of what was going on until either some sort of an event happened, i.e. CERN colliding the hadron particles in 2012. So that would go and speak into the spirit and consciousness, and maybe that's a possibility. What are some of the other theories out there? Well, there's so many. But that's the reason why I created my channel and called it A Theory of Nothing, because as many theories as there are, they're all just theories. There's no proof to base any facts upon those theories. I mean, even when you go to like the globe earth, flat earth, back and forth debating each other and that, there is mankind created scientific basis to quantify that we're on a globe and we're in a universe and it's heliocentric and we're X distances from everything, but we don't have any true, unless we are far more advanced with tech than what is being told to us, and I'm sure our government is and NASA is, than what we deal with every day in day-to-day life. But we would have to be so much more advanced to have equipment that is even capable to project data through space from Mars, through space from the sun, through space from frickin' Pluto. I mean, you can't even send a satellite signal up anywhere on this planet without having relay towers to promote it. Now, if you have a satellite phone, alleged satellite phone, supposedly you get a signal from most anywhere on the planet, but there are still dead zones on the planet. So you're still relying on bouncing a signal up to the satellite and bringing it back to the planet. Yet you're going to tell us that a tiny satellite, the same size or maybe just a little bit bigger, is hundreds of millions of miles away and is sending a signal back to us that we can actually read and register. And our scientists were smart enough to create a program to send the satellite there. Now, that is possible if we're living in a simulated reality, because then we're just writing code, right? Now, is it that the leaders of the country are in game with us and are able to modulate the game and adjust the game, and started to try to, do things globally in 2012 to screw everything up on purpose and to vet out those of us who have old memory? Or is this a flip? Are those of us who are Mandela affected, who have a hold on the previous memory of everything and are seeing the changes happening in the world in real time and everything else, is it even happening? Or are we the ones who are being manipulated by the government? I mean, I don't know. The mind, the conscious, is a funny thing. It can be manipulated. I mean, even as this life that we exist, there's plenty of case studies of hypnopsychiatrists and stuff like that are able to manipulate people and make them do things. You have to be, though, in almost every case that I've ever heard of, you have to be willing, unless they do a forced breakdown like MK Ultra programming. However, I don't even believe through that program that an unwilling participant can be brainwashed out. I think no matter what they do, if you have a strong enough will and a strong enough conscience, that they cannot data erase your memory, false implant memories, and just manipulate you that way. That's just my belief. That's just my feeling about it, and other things I've read about hypnosis and things like that. If you're not willing to be hypnotized, you can't be hypnotized. If you're willing to be hypnotized, guess what? You're a normal person living on planet Earth, as we understand planet Earth, regardless of its shape. So, what I'm hoping to achieve by starting to get a YouTube presence is to come together with people, people who are in this together, that are experiencing the things together, to open up dialect between us, conversations between us, to fortify our own basis and our own thoughts, and maybe try to work out the solidity from the muck, and pull bits and pieces from everyone's theories to actually formulate the closest theory to being actual of what's going on, to be what's actually going on, to what we're actually experiencing here. I think that's the only way that we're going to really do it. I mean, we can go into trying to go through multiple levels of awareness, but if you read into studies of that, you'll find that even people like the Dalai Lama only gets to a certain level of consciousness. I'd be curious to know if they're even conscious of this being Mandela Effect, and they may not be, because they are living up on a mountain somewhere and unaffected. It's funny to know how many people that are affected aren't really watching TV and stuff like that, and they just say, they just can't do it. Yet all the sheeple are. Now, I watch TV, I listen to the news, I watch YouTube videos, I go out and I experience life. I do all those things, and I'm not a drooling idiot sitting at home eating my oatmeal and sucking down the things of the TV now. We have, of course, all of us have. That's why, unless we're living out in the middle of the wilderness, growing our own food, living off the land, we're all part of the system, as it were. We're all getting up, doing our work for the day, or we've already made our money, and we're going through life, right? You're buying consumables, you're eating, sleeping, shitting. You're going through all the processes of this corporeal existence. The one thing with those of us who are truly affected and aware, maybe we're unaffected. Maybe we're Mandela unaffected. Maybe that's what we should be calling ourselves instead of the affected. I think everyone else out there is affected, because personal people in my own life that you'll have conversations about, like Star Wars as an example, and they agree with you. Oh yeah, nope, he's got 2 golden legs. Oh nope, yep, Luke, I am your father. You're wrong. He's had 1 silver leg, and it's always been, no, I am your father. Go back and watch the movies, and then go back and watch your CDs, watch your DVDs, or not CDs, but the DVDs, VHS tapes on YouTube all over the place, and oh, it's his silver leg. Oh, it's no, I'm your father. And then instantly those people, as soon as they get in that situation, they instantly go, oh, yeah, the whole planet is misremembering it. I must have misremembered it too. Here's the way it is. Or we just had something come up about Lord of the Rings with a quote, with the when Gandalf is falling in the pit, and he says to them, blank, you fools. Well, nowadays it's fly, you fools, which makes no sense. I've always known it as run, you fools. Now, if it was flee, you fools, I could see, okay, well, flee means to leave the situation, and would be more proper Old English. Run, same thing. But fly, the person I told it to said, oh no, in the book it says fly, you fools. And fly is proper Old English. No, it is not. Fly would not be at all proper Old English for leaving a situation. But you're going to fly like a bird? Humans couldn't fly back in that day, so why would fly at all be relevant to that? So, anyhow, but they said, oh no, it's in the book, it's this, it's that, that's the way it's got to be. Everyone's just misremembering it. And they even at first said, when I asked them that question, they said, it's run, you fools. Until they looked it up. Now they say, nope, this is the way the book is. They even called someone they knew and confirmed it, and that person is supposedly so into the book, and that's just the way it is. Now, this person has had many, many, many Mandela affected type of situations happen to them. I don't think that they're not affected, but I think they are choosing to remain in the matrix, as it were. And again, I'm using movie references because that's what's being thrown out there, and I don't know what else to coin on it yet. But they're choosing to stay in the system. For them, I think it's too difficult to accept the quirk of what's going on, and the possibility that everything that we've known about everything is shit and is meaningless to a degree. I mean, obviously there's meaning in this life, but that everything you've been taught to believe is rubbish. It's garbage. It means nothing. And that they are choosing to just remain in the system, to remain the battery plugged into the terminal, rather than stepping outside the box. And that could be for several reasons. One, they just mentally can't handle the breakdown of trying to understand everything. Two, they don't want to be ridiculed, because you've all heard the crazy people get locked up, right? That's one of the things that's been instilled into us. And yes, I know there's psych wards and all that stuff, but it's not like it was back in the day from you can discover on the History Channel and all that stuff. So, you know, what the things are that we don't know is if this has always gone on, or if this is something that is just new and recent. But it does seem like those of us who are self-proclaimed Mandela affected, like myself, my wife, others out there on YouTube, and those who are adamantly saying, oh no, it's not a real thing, it's just memory lapse and that, almost all have similar memories to each other until the facts are dropped on them. That it's all different, it's all changed, and then it seems like they just want to flip-flop and hold on to the new change as now being the gospel truth, which is a very sheep mentality approach of walking through life. I am not that person. If you are like-minded, please like, subscribe, ring the bell icon for any new videos I'm going to upload. Also, please, please, please drop me an email. a.theory.of.nothing@gmail.com. Let's get connected. Let's drop some ideas off of each other and some theories and figure out what this is. Because, I mean, this crazy transgender hashtag Me Too, Donald Trump is now the president, been to the moon, we haven't been to the moon, the earth is flat, the earth is round, Beerstein, no, I said beer, Berenstain, changes are just crazy. I don't want to just get to the point where I'm the one who just gives up on stuff, and I never will anyways. It's just not in my nature. But I don't want to just settle back into the old ways and go, yep, I just got to get up and I just got to do my 9-to-5 job. I mean, I make good money with what I do, but I work a lot of hours, and it's not what I want to do. It's not what I love to do anymore. I used to love it, not so much. I don't even care about the job other than it's a source of income at this point. Anyhow, this is my channel, A Theory of Nothing. My name is Scott Schaefer. I'm the host of the channel. I will talk to you guys soon.